In part 1, we went to Fuzhou, the provincial capital of Fujian province, and met with Alex Xu, who took us to meet 3 teachers of the main martial arts styles of the city: whooping crane fist, incense shot boxing, and dog boxing. We learned that these systems all trace their origins back to a supposed Southern Shaolin Temple, which was set up by monks who fled the burning of the main temple in the north by the Qing armies. However, there is much discrepancy with this story, and nobody can even agree on where this Southern Shaolin Temple even was. Since China emerged from the repressive reign of Chairman Mao and started to open its doors to the outside world in the 1980s, they saw tourism as one way to develop the economy of a desperately poor country. 3 different cities in Fujian then claimed they were the location of this Southern Shaolin Temple, and each of these cities built their own Shaolin Temple in the hopes of attracting martial tourism. They were Fujian, Putian, and Quanzhou. As we were heading to Quanzhou to learn about the art of 5 ancestors fist, we decided that the Quanzhou Temple would be our best choice to visit. To understand the mythology of the Southern Shaolin Temple, we must first understand the secret societies which grew up in the region during the early Qing dynasty. Around the middle of the 18th century, various fraternities began to emerge in Fujian province, initially with the goals of mutual protection and networking in this remote region cut off from the rest of China. 3 particularly influential ones were the Tiandi Hui, or Heaven and Earth Society, the Sanhe Hui, or the Triads Society, and the Hongmen, or the Sect of Hong. These gradually spread from Fujian out towards Taiwan, Jiangxi, Guangdong, and even further to eventually cover all of southern China, as well as overseas Chinese communities in Southeast Asia and the United States. To join, members had to undergo an elaborate ritual which involved crawling under crossed swords, taking sacred oaths, and drinking a concoction of animal's blood and grain alcohol. The new initiates were then given secret phrases and hand gestures they could use to identify themselves to other members. It's not until the early 19th century that these groups began to focus their agenda on overthrowing the Qing dynasty. These groups developed a common creation myth, in which the Shaolin monks of Henan province loyally served the Qing emperor to assist in overthrowing a rebellion by barbarians in the borderlands known as the Xilu. The monks then refused any reward from the emperor, instead only wishing to return to their life of studying Buddhism in the seclusion of the temple. The Shaolin monks were then accused of plotting to start a rebellion themselves, and so the emperor ordered the temple to be burnt down. 18 monks fled the burning, of which 13 of them died of hardships on the road. The surviving 5 then made the acquaintance of another Buddhist monk by the name of Wan Yunlong, and together they found a movement to take revenge on the Qing, calling it the Tiandi Hui. This story, however, is full of inconsistencies, and every version of it appears to contradict the others. Some versions incorrectly place the Shaolin Temple in Gansu province in the far northwest of China. Others do place it in Henan province, but then go on to state that the surviving monks either sought refuge in or built a new Shaolin Temple in Fujian province, citing either Fuqing, Putian, or Quanzhou as the location. Others still mention a connection to Mount Ermei, another sacred Buddhist mountain in Sichuan, southwestern China. Indeed, the Shaolin monks were already an important part of martial folklore throughout China at the time, with many martial artists seeking prestige by attributing the creation of their style to the Shaolin monks. As mentioned previously, the Shaolin monks were often recruited into the military during the Ming dynasty, and did aid in quashing various incursions, both by coastal pirates and barbarian tribes on the inland borders. However, there is no record of the monks being drafted into any Qing armies, nor is there any record of the Shaolin Temple being burnt down during this time. On the contrary, the temple had already been ransacked and left in ruins by a local warlord during the Civil War prior to the founding of the Qing dynasty in 1644, and several notable Qing emperors in fact funded restoration projects for the temple. However, it is worth also noting that the status of the Shaolin Temple had declined during the Qing, who treated them with caution, and Emperor Qianlong had even forbidden the Shaolin monks from teaching martial arts to local troops, stating that monks should focus their attention on Buddhism and not warfare. In all likelihood, the Southern Shaolin myth probably arose from a combination of various influences, including the strained relationship the temple in Henan had with the authorities, the fact that 200 years prior, Generals Qi Jiguang and Yu Daiyou brought Shaolin monks to Fujian as part of their army to defend the coastline from pirates, as well as general martial folklore surrounding the fame of the warrior monks and their exploits. In fact, here in Quanzhou, two of the most popular styles of martial arts are Taizu Quan and Wuzu Quan. Taizu means the great ancestor and refers to the founding emperor of the Song dynasty. A couple of years prior to this trip, I had actually met with and interviewed a practitioner of Taizu Quan in Singapore, my friend Dominic Lim, who gave me an excellent introduction to the style.
And what's the relationship between Taizu and Wuzu then? Because I know in Southeast Asia and Taiwan particularly there's a lot of like Wuzu Quan, and I believe it's very similar to Taizu Quan, right?
Yes, that's a good question. There is a lot of confusion between like what actually is Wuzu and what actually is Taizu. So some people think that the Wuzu that we see now is actually Taizu,
right?
And some people think the Taizu that we see now is actually Wuzu. So there are different schools, even to what constitutes the Wuzu is not unanimous amongst the Wuzu Qinggu. So some people think that the 5 monks from the temple is the Wuzu,
right?
You know, the Huozhao Shaolin, the 5 monks that escaped from the burning Shaolin, that is the Wuzu.
Yeah.
Some people think that Wuzu is 5 different styles: Taizu, Luohan, Dazun, Baihe, and Houquan. So these 5 different styles under one banner. And some people think there's an amalgamated style, like 5 styles into one.
Right.
Yeah. So it's very hard to say because everyone has their own definitions. For us, is we believe we subscribe to the 5 styles under one umbrella term. Yeah.
So in Taizu, you are essentially 5 styles.
No.
One.
No. In Taizu, we are like we are independent,
right?
But we are one of the 5 styles of the 5.
Oh, okay. So Wuzu would be like say 5 styles, and Taizu is one of these 5 styles.
Yes.
Okay.
So we call it like they had the 五拳一门. So 5 martial arts under one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand.
When we do this, the 8 moves, this we call 八步头, 八波头, right? So when you do these 8 moves, you have to show your 吞吐浮身.
Okay.
Already. So anything to do with this, see when I open, when I go down, this is speed and sink at the same time.
Right.
This is swallow, speed and sink, actually sink. Come up, fu, chen, fu, chen,
Okay.
吞吐.
Fu is floating and
Floating, yes.
Chen is sinking, right?
Sinking.
Okay.
There's also the breathing. So when you fu, you breathe in.
Right.
So it's the same thing. When you chen and tu, right, you breathe out.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Tun, breathe in, obviously. Okay. Fu, breathe in. Tu, speed out. Fu, breathe in. So everything we do is 2 hands. So when we do this,
Right.
it's 2 hands, right? So say you are throwing a punch from here, right? It's 2 hands together.
Right. Okay.
So timing is one thing. So if I do this, 1, 2, I'm slow, right? But if you come in, just one beat, I'm in.
Yeah.
So if one, maybe this hand will have gotten me,
Yeah.
but at least in the first step, I've already gotten you once. Right?
Yeah.
So if you come in, we're going to exchange or what?
Yeah.
So we always fight, ideally, we fight in the outside. So not in the inside where we can exchange. 2 ways to do this. One is you come in, I step out, and then I strike. Right? The other way, come in again. The other way, I pull your outside to me.
Right, breaking
and I
the
strike.
structure.
Yeah,
as
breaking
well.
the structure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the main thing is to
try to get to this outside gate
yes,
at all
yes,
times.
get you unbalanced,
Yeah.
but at the same time striking you at the same time. So the ideal way will be every move we take, we go into an advantageous position. Yeah. So if I go in, I can just dodge and
Yeah.
strike at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is our principles.
The other style that are developed here is called Wuzu Quan, or Five Ancestors, which is essentially 5 styles combined, taking Taizu Quan as its foundation. Following Dominic's suggestion, we went to meet Master Zhang Xiaofeng, who Dominic had previously told me was one of the most knowledgeable and skilled masters in Quanzhou.
那你能不能也讲那个五祖拳的来源？就是为什么是叫就五祖拳是怎么来的？还有为什么是叫五祖拳？
五祖拳它里面就包含了5种拳种，太祖、罗汉、达尊、行者、白鹤。它这个五个拳种呢，有的白鹤会说成是玄女啊，因为它这种5个拳种是当时在泉州地区流传的最兴盛、最旺盛的。
这是五个不同的派别
拳种。然后最古老的是太祖拳，它是属于我们宋太祖赵匡胤他南外宗正师当时到泉州的时候流传下来的那种他的那个宫廷专用的武术。然后他为了我们要把这个武术给它归纳起来，就称之为宋太祖传下来的太祖拳，有这个太祖拳。然后呢，因为当时我们佛教兴盛，达尊就是达摩尊者，罗汉就罗汉堂。就是我们当时讲的少林寺正式的这2个东西，它就融合在里面了，所以才有达尊拳跟罗汉拳，是吧？后来呢，又有这个行者，行者是南派的猴拳，它跟那种象形拳不一样，象形拳是模拟动物的吃喝玩乐的那种动作来嬉戏的那种动作，其实它只是一种表演。但是呢，这个南派的猴拳，它是以猴的快速敏捷。指的力量抓力来训练他的奔腾跳跃的这种动作，形成一种独特一个那个武术的套路。它就不是象形，而是象意，就类似意的意思触手配合就像挑肩干前啪挑棍被套的这种动作，类似这种动作都是白猴里面的动作，这种反抓反击掉给这种动作，它都是猴拳里面的那个南派的行者拳里面的东西。而白鹤拳呢？它源自于那个清朝康熙年间那个方启良，他父亲方仲公是练太祖拳的，所以但当时他觉得女孩子练的太祖相对比较刚猛刚猛，还是练他力量没那么大，没办法练那么大。后来他在看那个河边的那种白鹤在那个嬉戏，觉得他那白鹤在弹抖劲非常好他就悟到了一种。由刚到柔的一种变化，然后寻找它那种叫做一节节的劲，节劲就是寸劲我所说的寸劲，他就把这劲法融入到那个太祖拳里面呢，就叫太祖化鹤，就形成那个方启良就成为白鹤拳的祖师他变成他的祖师，他就把这个太祖慢慢演变成跟鹤拳。所以在咏春。你看他练的差不多，他说他是太祖的，他是白鹤，他2个人动作都差不多，就这个起手式有的这样子，有的这样子，不一样他们就是一个起手，他们动作都大同小异，都有一点点偏差，但不会差很多这是白鹤拳，所以它一门就有这5种拳种在里面，然后呢，它在流传的过程中，它会互相的渗透，比如说你是练白鹤的，他是练罗汉的，我是练太祖的。我们的学生他也跟你学，我们是好朋友，他也跟你学，就互相的把这个风格融化在里面，所以慢慢的形成一个独特的一个五祖拳的这个门派，它可以单独成立，又可融合在一起。用手我不会。用这个木头打不会伤到手。
Wood won't hurt your knuckles.
Oh, really?
No.
因为木头是我们中国木头属于可以再生的。
Because wood is alive.
不像铁会伤。
Whereas metal is dead. that's nice. I like
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
哇，
哇，厉害厉害。
他这个，比如他手上这样，这个攻击力最大。因为呢，我们这个你看，
That's the exact same moves.
Yeah.
他说他这个这样打，上打这样。
Very powerful. It's the exact same technique.
他说跟他们的那个套路一样的。
Wow.
他是他是主要因为他可手要这样打，不能这样打。
Never hold it down, always up. But you've always got to keep that to the outside, right? Yeah, because you're protecting. No.
In this part of the trip, I had learnt an incredible amount about the cultural landscape of Southern Chinese martial arts. Visiting the reconstructed Southern Shaolin Temple allowed me to gain an appreciation of its importance in the local culture, regardless of whether it had actually existed or not. Taizu Quan was one of the oldest styles practiced in the area and had a huge influence over other styles which came later. Wuzu Quan had amalgamated 5 major Fujian styles into a large and comprehensive curriculum and became a popular art among the Chinese diaspora of Southeast Asia. In the final part of this series, we will then head to the rural area of Yongchuan, a county outside of Quanzhou, where White Crane was first practiced and taught, and from where it spread to other places such as Fuzhou. I will also investigate whether the White Crane practiced here could be a possible ancestor of modern Wing Chun. From there, we will return to Fuzhou to spend some more time with Masters Lin Shanquan and Yu Danqiu before completing this epic journey and saying our goodbyes.